What's up, everybody? Jed Johnson here from DieselCrew.com. Of course, you know they call me Napalm. And this is an update for the Hard to Handle tournament to crown the hardest thick bar rolling handle in the world today. So we're in a few matchups now. So everybody should know exactly how this is going to run. Be familiar with the format of the competition. And now I thought we'd just take a break, put up an extra video, feature all of the handles, and get some predictions. So this one's going to be a very, very fun video. I want to know what everybody thinks. So I've got all the handles right below here at my feet. I'm going to feature each one of them, but let's just go through the whole entire lineup right now. So incidentally, I am not accepting any other handles for the tournament, but if there are more handles out there, I'd be glad to take them for title matches and comparisons down the line. Just let me know. So here's the order. On the very left, for matchup number 1, is the previous Rolling Thunder handle and the one-hand Nightmare. So previous Rolling Thunder, that's the middle style of Rolling Thunder between the original and what's currently available today. One-hand Nightmare comes from Arm Assassin Strength Shop, and that is the one-hand version of the Napalm's Nightmare. Next up, we have the Merritt handle, which was made by Dylan Merritt when he was in high school. He was a trainee that used to come to the gym. So that's a very rough style handle that he made himself. And that's the original style Rolling Thunder next to it, the black one with the white scratches. Next, we have the Crusher without the bushing. So I believe that to be pretty much the current version of Crusher, unless they've come out with a different one that I don't know about. And that's where the frame will roll against the side of the handle. That was in matchup number 3, and that went up against the Jokabug handle, which is the very, very long one, where the D-frame extends very low past the handle. Next up, we have the Fat Grips, which is attached to a D-ring. And this is a variation of a thick bar handle that anybody can make if they have fat grips and a D handle. And that went up that's going up in matchup number 4 against the Laughlin handle, which is just to the right. Derek Laughlin sent that in, and it actually was made by Fayette Customs that is in his area. Next up, the next matchup that we have is the Raptor versus the 2.5-inch Trilobite. So the Raptor's here, 2.5-inch Trilobite right there. The next two is the Luke Crusher, which is a version of the Crusher that he made before, let's see. I want to say it was 2016 that he made that. It was one of the first things that he crafted when he was teaching himself to weld. And then we have the Crusher with the bushing right beside it. So they're going to go head-to-head in the first round. Next, we have the LGC handle, which was sent to me by Eric Milfeld. Thank you once again. And then the Menino handle, which was made by either John Menino himself, or it was gifted to me by him and made by another person. I've kind of lost track over the years. In the next matchup, we have, well, I didn't put the Tyler Grips down there because the Tyler Grips is going to go on that rolling D handle, so I didn't bother getting that one out. But the Tyler Grips is going to go against the Titan Fitness handle, which is right here. That came from Joe Sullivan. Thank you very much. That has the paint stripped off. So it could be a little bit, well, most likely going to be much more difficult with the paint on it. But from what I've heard, the paint is very, very slick and can be annoying. So I wouldn't blame anybody for taking that off of there. Next up, so the Tyler Grips is going against the Titan Fitness handle. The next matchup, in matchup number 9, is the rolling grip thingy from Grip Genie going against the Bear Grip handle, which was sent by Adam Glass, and the RGT was gifted to us by Juji and Tom from Grip Genie. Adam Glass sent the Bear Grip handle. And then in the final matchup, it's the current style of Rolling Thunder and the Silarukov rolling handle. Now, let's look at each one of these in a bit more detail. So I wanted to go about this in an interesting way and actually provide some data for each handle. So I'm going to take each matchup and I'm going to go over 3 important pieces of information about the handle measurements. And then I'm going to give you the rolling action of each handle. And I want to know your predictions on what's going to be the hardest handle. What's going to win the hard to handle tournament to crown the hardest stick bar rolling handle in the world today. So we've got the previous Rolling Thunder. It weighs 2.6 pounds. It is 2.4 inches in thickness, and then the handle area is 5 7/8 inch long. So here's a drop test, and then here's the rolling action. That was going against the One Hand Nightmare in matchup number 1. It weighs 4 pounds, has thickness measurement of 2.39 inches, and it has a 5-inch gripping surface. So here's a drop test. And rolling action. There you go. Next up, we have the Merit handle in the original style Rolling Thunder. Now on the drop test, do remember that the heavier frame is going to drop a little bit quicker, so that's important to remember. The Merit handle weighs 9.1 pounds, has the gripping width of 2.52 inches, and the gripping length is 5 13/16. Here's the drop test. Here's the rolling action. Original style Rolling Thunder weighs 2.6 pounds, 2 3/8 inches for the width, and then 6-inch gripping surface. Here's the drop test. Rolling action. There you go. Next up, we have the Crusher with no bushing and the Jokabug handle. So the Crusher with no bushing weighs 8.5 pounds, has a 2.52 inch width for the gripping surface, and then 5 5/8 inch long gripping surface. Drop test. Rolling action. Jokabug, probably the longest handle in the tournament, weighs 11 pounds, making it one of the heaviest handles as well. Has a 2.49 inch gripping width, and then 5 7/8 inch gripping surface length. Drop test. As you can see, it moves pretty good. Watch the rolling action on this. Very nice. Next up, we have the Fat Grips handle on a D-ring versus the Laughlin handle. So the Fat Grips handle weighs 2.7 pounds, has a gripping width of 2.37 inches, and a handle length of 5 inches. Here's the drop test. And of course, this is going to be very dependent on the D-ring, the D handle. And sometimes the D handle is so narrow that the Fat Grips won't roll. Luckily, mine is big enough that it'll allow some action. So here's some rolling action. Laughlin handle weighs 6 pounds, 2.5 inch width, and 6 7/16 gripping length. Drop test. Falls real good. Here's the action. One of the better ones so far. Next up, we have the Raptor and the 2.5 inch Trilobite. The Raptor weighs 3.4 pounds, has a gripping width of 2.54 inches, and then the gripping width is 5 3/8. So here's the drop test. Real good. rolling action. And incidentally, this is either a wood or a plastic. I believe it's plastic. I don't think any of these are made out of wood, although they could very well be. And then the 2.5-inch trilobite weighs 1.9 pounds. The handle width, the gripping thickness is 2.49 inches in 5 7/8 inch gripping width. Drop test and handle action. Really good. Now this one happens to come from Mammoth Grip, so it was before Barrel Strength purchased the company. And if you notice, there is a substantial burr here, which is actually digging into the inside of the handle. So that could easily catch up there and cause an advantage depending on how you grip it. I didn't even realize that it was a Mammoth when I got it. It just means it's one of the earlier models and that there's other models that are out today. All right, now we have the Luke Crusher and the Crusher from FBBC with the bushing. So the Luke Crusher weighs 8.1 pounds. It has a 2.62 inch gripping thickness, and then 5 1/32 for the gripping length. Drop test, really good. Let's look at the rolling action. That's one of my favorite handles to train on. I probably train on that rolling handle more than any rolling handle in my collection. Crusher with bushing. This thing weighs a little bit more, 8.4 pounds, 2.5 inch gripping thickness, and then 5 7/16 gripping length. Drop test. Really nice. Rolling action. There you go. So Tyler, it's the LGC and the Menino handle. LGC weighs 3 pounds, has a 2.38 inch gripping thickness, and then 6 1/16 for the gripping length. So here's your drop action, rolling action. Oh yes, look at that. Look at the smoothness. Oh, the smoothness of it. It looks like Paul Allen's business card. Look at that. Can't wait to try this one out. Menino handle weighs 11.1 pounds, so it's the heaviest handle in the tournament. A 2.49 inch gripping thickness, and then 5 15/16 gripping length. Drop test. Doesn't really exist. Let's look at the rolling action. Not very much there. So the next one would be the Tyler grips. So when the Tyler grips is on the D handle, it weighs 2.6 pounds, has a 2.5 inch gripping thickness at its thickest point, but it is cone shaped. Okay? So I deliberated whether to put this in the tournament, and I went ahead and did it because this company sent me these for free years and years and years ago. I really appreciate the support, so I wanted to feature them in this tournament. And who knows how it's going to turn out. And then the gripping length is 4 9/16 inches. Let's look at the Titan Fitness handle. It weighs 9.2 pounds. The gripping thickness is 2.5 inches. The gripping length, 5 3/4 inches. Here's the drop test and the rolling action. We're up to the last two matchups now. We've got the rolling grip thingy. It weighs 3.6 pounds, has a gripping thickness of 2.57 inches, and a gripping length of 5 1/16. Very bulky frame here. so it's going to drop really good, as you can see. For the rolling action, pretty good. Next up is the Bear Grip. It weighs 5.2 pounds. The gripping thickness is 2.36 inches, and the gripping length is 5 13/16. Here's your drop. Here's your rolling action. I don't know if you can see that. It's not bad. And then the last two handles are the original style Rolling Thunder and the Silarukov handle, which was sent to me by the by Tammy, and I forget the gentleman's name right now. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. It's been a while, but I've said it in a couple other videos. All right, the current Rolling Thunder weighs 2.6 pounds, has a gripping thickness of 2.4 inches, and then a gripping length of 5 15/16. Here's the drop test. Here's the rolling action. And the Silarukov handle weighs 2.9 pounds. It has a 2.38 inch gripping thickness, and then a 5 3/4 inch gripping width. Here's your drop test, really fast, and your rolling action. One of the best in the tournament. It's the best sound. I love that sound. A lot of people probably hate it. All right, so there's all 20 handles in the tournament. I want to know what you think. What's your prediction? What is going to be the hardest handle? Meaning, which handle is going to produce the worst result in the tournament on a consistent basis to be crowned the hardest thick bar rolling handle in the world today? Which one of these handles is hard to handle? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thanks, everybody. Make sure to give it one of these. Remember I said leave your comment below with what you think is going to be the hardest handle or any other predictions you might have. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of these awesome updates. All the best in your training, everybody. Take care.